Telecom companies are the backbone of the digital age, controlling vast networks that handle everything from phone calls to financial transactions. But here's the shocking truth: many of these networks rely on outdated security protocols, leaving millions of personal data points and billions of dollars in digital transactions exposed. In fact, experts warn that the number of unpatched vulnerabilities in major telecom systems could fill an entire hacker's handbook. With a single line of code, a skilled hacker can slip through unnoticed, gaining access to a goldmine of personal, corporate, and government data. The story you're about to hear is kinda similar. Jacob wasn't your typical starving student scraping by on instant noodles and expired energy drinks. No, his life looked pretty good on paper. His dad was a successful dentist who ran a private practice downtown. His mom owned a trendy boutique that had its own Instagram following. He grew up in a suburban neighborhood where the lawns were always cut and the Amazon packages never stayed on porches for more than 10 minutes. He went to a private high school where the cafeteria served vegan options and the vending machines took Apple Pay. He had a car on his 17th birthday, not a new one, but still, a silver Honda Civic that smelled like freedom, and when he got to college, that was just the next checkbox. His parents even gave him a monthly allowance so he could focus on school. But Jacob wasn't focusing on school. Jacob wasn't struggling to survive, he was struggling to feel something, anything. At 21, he was already on another level. While other kids were learning how to write if-else statements, Jacob was teaching himself to reverse engineer mobile apps just for fun. He built AI chatbots that flirted better than most humans. He cracked school Wi-Fi passwords like it was a party trick. While his classmates worried about job interviews, Jacob built a crypto trading bot that accidentally made him $12,000 in 2 weeks. He didn't tell anyone, not even his roommate, because for Jacob, it was never about the money. He spent nights in front of 3 glowing monitors, gaming with strangers in Prague, debugging code that didn't technically need fixing, and watching surveillance footage from public street cams, just to see if he could find patterns. His browser tabs looked like the FBI's private reading list. He didn't do anything high. Hacking was his high. During the day, he skipped lectures unless attendance was mandatory. He wasn't failing, just hovering, barely enough to not raise questions. He didn't want a job, he didn't want recognition, he wanted a challenge, something bigger, something that made his pulse race. I didn't need a job, I didn't need money, what I needed was something impossible to do, something I wasn't supposed to even think about. That's when it happened. During a group project for his network security class, Jacob got paired with 3 students who had no clue what they were doing, so while they fumbled with PowerPoint slides, he decided to run a routine scan on live networks, just to kill time. But one IP address caught his eye. It was strange, something about the server's fingerprint looked incomplete, like it wasn't finished, or maybe abandoned. He pinged it, it responded. He probed further, no firewall, no authentication wall, no trace blocking. It was like someone had left the back door of a skyscraper wide open. Click by click, command by command, Jacob followed the trail, and within 5 minutes, he was staring at something that made him sit up straight, a dev environment tied to the largest telecommunications provider in the city. Not fake data, not simulations, live architecture, real billing logs and actual user activity. And the wild part is that it was connected to a test server, something someone had clearly forgotten to disable. It was like leaving the keys to a Ferrari in the ignition, engine running, in a parking lot with no cameras. Jacob blinked, his fingers hovered over the keyboard. He wasn't supposed to be here, he shouldn't have even seen this, but there it was, an invisible, unexplored door, left wide open, begging to be walked through, and Jacob, he was already reaching for the handle. Jacob knew the difference between playing around and crossing the line, but this felt like standing at the edge of a cliff with no wind, no witnesses, and nothing stopping him from jumping, except his own curiosity. He kept digging into the telecom test server. Every layer he peeled back made it more obvious. Someone screwed up bad. The test environment was supposed to be isolated, sandboxed, locked down, but instead, it was sitting wide open, and tethered to the live billing system. Not a mirror, not a clone, the real deal. At first, Jacob thought it had to be a mistake, or a honeypot. Maybe they were baiting him, but the logs didn't lie. This was a leftover dev port, probably built for internal testing, likely abandoned by an overworked intern who forgot to disable access after deployment. He hesitated, then, just to test a theory, he generated a dummy SIM card registration, filled in fake credentials, random IMEI number, set the billing field to 0, clicked, activate. A moment later, his test phone lit up, full signal, 4G LTE, no data cap, no billing. He blinked, refreshed, still connected, free, unlimited, untraceable, the kind of glitch that shouldn't exist, but it did, and Jacob had found it. For Jacob, it felt like he had found a secret vending machine behind the system. He just had to know where to press. He made a few more test cards, just to see how far it went, and they all worked. No throttling, no red flags. Still convinced it was too good to be true, he handed one to a friend as a joke. "Try this, it's magic," he said with a smirk. The next day that same friend came back stunned. "Bro, I streamed an entire season of Stranger Things and my data counter still says 0, what is this?" Jacob shrugged and said, "Beta test." Word started to spread, but quietly, only among his small circle of friends. He'd hand out a sim here, another there, mostly for laughs and a trick up his sleeve. But then, someone offered him money. "Can I get one for my cousin?" a friend asked. "He'll pay, like a couple $100. Jacob paused. "A couple hundred? Yeah, like $200, maybe more." The next week, it happened again. Someone else, "I'll give you $1,000 if you can get me 2 of those things. Unlimited data, no contracts, no name attached, that's gold." And just like that, the light bulb exploded in Jacob's head. He wasn't just playing with a toy anymore, he was sitting on a product. He refined the process, built a lightweight script that auto-generated valid SIM card registrations and zeroed out the billing fields. He created custom encryption that mimicked the company's internal network handshakes, making it look, on the surface, like the cards were completely legit. He bought a cheap SIM writer from an online electronics store and a stack of blank cards from a sketchy supplier in Hong Kong. Each card took less than 5 minutes to produce. He started selling them quietly, through friends, then friends of friends, no names, crypto only, cash if he trusted you, no repeats. The word spread fast. Suddenly, people were calling him the plug. Jacob, this bored college student from a well-off family, had become the underground dealer of invisible data. No contracts, no limits, no trace. He didn't advertise, he didn't need to, he'd become the king of free internet, and no one even knew it was him. And in his head, one thought kept repeating like a drumbeat: it was just a dare at first, I never thought it would actually work. But now, it was working, and it was just getting started. Jacob knew he couldn't stay small forever. The demand for his magic SIM cards wasn't just growing, it was exploding. It wasn't just college kids wanting unlimited TikTok anymore, now it was serious people, street guys, hustlers, even a few guys he suspected were running operations way bigger than he wanted to ask about, and all of them wanted him. The thing was, no one actually knew who they were dealing with. Jacob had built a firewall, not the kind you code, but the kind you live behind. He created a fake identity on the dark web with codename Gold Packet, no face, no name, just a legend. He set up a site on a dark web marketplace, a clean, minimalist page where you could apply to buy SIM cards, crypto payments only, no refunds, no negotiations. If you had to ask too many questions, you didn't get approved, and the craziest part, he wasn't even running the day-to-day. Jacob built an AI assistant to handle orders, verify payments, assign shipping addresses, and even reroute conversations through multiple languages so it couldn't be traced back to him easily. It would answer buyers like a real person, sometimes even throwing in typos and slang just to keep it believable. Meanwhile, Jacob sat back, watched the system run, and kept perfecting his process. He started importing blank SIM cards by the thousands, disguised as educational materials or DIY electronics kits. Customs never blinked. He used a $60 SIM writing device that looked like a cheap phone charger. In the beginning, he made maybe a few thousand a week, then $50,000 a month, then $200,000. Within 6 months, Jacob's secret business was clearing over $1 million. $1 million. From a glitch no one even knew existed. Of course, there was the money problem. You can't exactly walk into a bank with a duffel bag of crypto and say, "Hey, open a savings account." So Jacob got creative. He set up a fake freelance coding agency online, selling AI projects and digital solutions. It looked real enough. Real website, fake reviews, even fake LinkedIn profiles of fake employees. All payments were processed cleanly. He also laundered through digital art, flipping NFTs that he created himself under different names. One week he was a visionary crypto artist, the next, he was a tech disruptor from Switzerland. The money poured in, clean enough for taxes, invisible enough for questions, but the real genius, the real masterpiece. Jacob knew it was only a matter of time before someone at the telecom company noticed something weird, so he went on offense. One night, wearing a borrowed janitor's uniform and carrying a cloned employee badge he'd lifted from a chance encounter at a campus career fair, Jacob walked straight into the telecom headquarters, right through the front doors, no alarms, no questions. He made his way to an empty workstation, one he knew was registered to a low-level technician who had just died in a motorcycle accident months earlier. Using the dead man's credentials, Jacob accessed the internal tracking database. He rerouted every single ping from his ghost SIM cards, thousands of them, through the technician's inactive account. From the company's point of view, it looked like a ghost was responsible for everything, no flags, no anomalies, just dead space. I had to break into the company I was robbing, just to erase myself from their records, and I did it with a smile. Jacob didn't just cover his tracks, he buried them, 6 feet deep. It started with a flicker, just a quick blink of the lights in Jacob's apartment. At first, he thought it was nothing, maybe the power company fumbling again, but then, his VPN connection dropped, not lagged, not slowed, dropped dead. In the same breath, his private servers, ones he had buried under layers of encryption and hidden proxies, sputtered offline. One by one, like candles being blown out, Jacob's blood ran cold. In that instant, he didn't need anyone to tell him, he knew. They found me, the telecom company, the feds, some three-letter agency, whoever it was. They were coming. He didn't even pause to think. He launched into his killswitch protocol. First the laptop, screen cracked with a swing of a hammer, motherboard shattered into dust. Next, the external drives, tossed into the kitchen sink and set on fire, smoke filling the air. Jacob's hands moved on instinct, his mind raced ahead to what he needed to wipe, destroy, erase. Minutes felt like hours. He grabbed what cash he had, a burner phone, and bolted toward the front door, ready to vanish, to disappear into the night. And that's when the knock came. 3 sharp, deliberate raps. Jacob froze, hand on the doorknob, heart slamming against his ribs. This was it, no more time, game over. He opened the door slowly, bracing for a SWAT team, handcuffs and ending he couldn't hack his way out of. But standing there, was a guy, mid-30s, crisp navy suit, calm eyes, no badge, no cuffs, no gun drawn. Just a slight smile, like he knew a joke Jacob hadn't heard yet. Jacob Turner, the man asked casually, like he was offering a pizza. Jacob didn't answer, his mind was spinning too fast. I'm not here to arrest you, the man said, as if he was reading his mind. I'm with Sentinel Cyber Defense, maybe you've heard of us. Jacob blinked and unconsciously said, what did you just say? The man continued, handing him a pristine white business card. We've been watching some of the code flying around lately, particularly a very interesting white hat vulnerability patch submitted anonymously last year. Jacob remembered, a random project he had fired off late one night just for fun, an open source patch to a major software exploit. Nothing serious, he didn't even use his real name. But apparently, it had been serious enough. We don't know what else you're into, the man said, voice low and deliberate, but we know you're good, really good. He leaned in slightly. So here's the deal, come work for us, 6 figures, full clearance, real playgrounds to test your skills, or we dig deeper, and see what turns up. Jacob's pulse pounded. Was this real? Was this some new kind of trap? But looking into the man's eyes, he realized, this wasn't law enforcement. This was a great opportunity, dangerous, terrifying, irresistible. In that moment, Jacob made a decision. He faked his own digital death. That night, he posted on his dark web account a final confession, a rambling, I've been caught, I'm out, goodbye, message. He ran a scorched earth script through every server he touched, shredding his trail into digital confetti, old wallets wiped, fake accounts deleted, every fingerprint scrubbed. By sunrise, Jacob Turner no longer existed online, and later that week, a fresh new employee badge printed out at Sentinel Cyber Defense headquarters. Name, Jacob Turner. Title, Junior Cybersecurity Analyst. Clearance, Level 3. They hired me, paid me 6 figures, and they never knew I was the guy they were looking for.